Expose Evil here. Like, share, subscribe. Today I'm doing a video about the secretly funded CIA MKUltra mind control research done in Nigeria. And this man, Dr. Raymond Prince, a Canadian psychiatrist, went down there for 4 years and wrote a journal and learned the way they dealt with mental illness. Now take a look at this clip from the Fifth Estate.
CIA set up a number of fronts, respectable foundations like the Human Ecology Fund. Sounds innocent enough, but it was run by the CIA's brainwashing experts. Here at McGill University in Montreal, the fund found 3 projects worth financing. They supported an extensive study of witch doctors in Nigeria. How, investigators wondered, did native healers cure mental illness? What mysterious drugs and potions did they use?
Device used to bind up excited patients. A sleeping potion is then administered.
20 years ago, the Human Ecology Fund paid for this movie.
Palm oil. This soothes the patient's head.
But it was only recently that the man who made the film found out that he had been working with the CIA's money. The author of the Nigerian study is still at McGill University. News of his connection to the CIA came as quite a surprise to Dr. Raymond Prince.
I couldn't imagine why the CIA would be interested in my work in looking at indigenous healers in West Africa. That seemed really strange. That was my first reaction, I couldn't believe that, I couldn't understand how the CIA would be interested in that.
Obviously, Dr. Prince was learning the magical practices of the Ifa tradition. Now, this is very important to understand when, to understand how magic is associated with MKUltra or Kabbalah. Now, I want to say that, I'm a so-called Puerto Rican, and I want to say so-called Puerto Rican because Puerto Rico is just an incorporation of the United States. The real name of it is called Island of Borinquen. And we are, peoples of the Taino Indians. So, as a, Puerto Rican, Santeria is very popular in our supposed culture. And it does come from the Ifa tradition. It's more of a deformed base of it. So check this out. Starting in the 16th century, large numbers of Yoruba natives and other peoples, like the Fon people, were transported as slaves to the Caribbean and the Americas. They combined beliefs and practices from the Ifa religion and elements of Roman Catholicism to produce the syncretistic religions of Candomblé, Palomayombe, Santeria, Voodoo, etc. These are now flourishing in the Caribbean, South America, and North America, notably in Brazil, Colombia, Cuba, Grenada, the Guyanas, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, St. Kitts, St. Vincent, Tobago, and Trinidad.
You have no reason to trust me yet, but you don't have any reason to distrust me, do you?
The spirits help them. They walk through walls. Don't forget that.
I won't. And they can see us in here right now, is that it? What is it? Easy.
They knew that I was onto them. I walked in. They were waiting for me.
Can you identify them?
No. When I came to, I found the body. They got my shield. Don't you get it?
Yes.
Oh, they're gonna kill me.
No.
I can feel it starting already.
No. Nobody can harm you in here. I promise you that.
God can't save you. The church can't save you. They get right inside your body. You can't stop them. 7 powers. You think that you can stop them? You think science can stop them?
Santeria is 1,000 years older than Christianity. Brought by slaves to the Caribbean. They're African gods hidden in Catholic saints. Shango, Santa Barbara, Legua, St. Anthony.
Now check out this article written by a news magazine called Maclean's out of Canada, written in November 16th, 1963, with the information from his African Journal by Sidney Katz, called My Colleagues the Witch Doctors. Now I want to say that they're called witch doctors, healers, and herbalists. Not because, they don't call them witch doctors because they're witches. They call them witch doctors because they're battling the sorcery of the witches. And there's a very strong image of the witch in Nigeria, as I will show you in this video. Now, right here we see from his journal that he was initiated. It said Prince was initiated into the secrets of witchcraft, sorcery, sacrifice, and exotic curative drugs. As a result of his extensive observations, he has come to two principal conclusions. The first is that neurosis and psychosis are as common in Nigeria as in, say, Montreal or New York. And second, that the treatment of mental illness by magic is highly effective. It says Prince persuaded a friendly healer, aka herbalist, aka witch doctor, to arrange a meeting with a sorceress in Abadan. Before she would consent to see him, he had to send her a tribute of a bottle of palm oil, some eggs, and a goat. The visit took place in her hut on a back street of Abadan. Although the room was dark, he could make her out to be an elderly woman of 75, with many tattoos. She was suspicious of her visitor and swore him to secrecy. "What kind of power do you want?" she asked Prince. "Advancement in your career, the beginning of more children, great wealth, the power to destroy your enemies." Prince said he was interested in getting more money. The witch thereupon said that before he could proceed further, there would be a $100 initiation fee. She told me that as to start, she would give me a soap to rub myself with, which would enable me to recognize witches. Anywhere in the world, even in Canada, I would also be entitled to attend the secret meetings held by the local chapter of witches. The witch also suggested that he would be expected to eat human flesh, take a vision-producing drug, probably datura, a native plant. As Prince stood up to leave, the witch seized his hand and pulled him towards a mattress in the corner of the room. Her intentions were unmistakable. At the time, says Prince, I thought her enthusiasm might be partly attributed to my personal charm. I was later disabused of that notion by a healer who told me I no longer consent with witches about my patients. No matter how old they are, they want sexual relations. I find that extremely unpleasant. Now, what they just described was him being initiated in a sexual rite. He didn't deny that he slept with a woman. Now that you have an idea of the 7 powers, or the 7 African powers, or in Santeria they're called las siete potencias, or las siete potencias africanos. You see here from the Handbook of Yoruba Religious Concepts, 1991, that this is nothing more than a Kabbalistic religion dealing with chakras, dealing with the method of leaving your body as an astral projection, acting as a medium for a spirit or demon.
Other participants also go into deep trances. People help them and respect them, as in these movements their souls are outside their bodies. The luas, or spirits, have taken over their bodies in order to express their wishes. Here for her to take possession of someone's body, in this case, the woman with a red scarf. Suli likes to flirt and seduces people without distinguishing between sexes. She may enter the body of a man or of a woman, but everybody will immediately recognize her because of her suggestive movements. Each preacher recognizes different beings in this possession. Suli has just recognized one of her followers by the rings that adorn his hands. These are wedding rings that show that the man has married her.
Did everybody catch the red Kabbalistic bracelet that the Zuli follower was wearing on his right arm? So this is Azuli, aka the Black Madonna. She's the same as the 7 powers, one of the 7 powers named Ashun. Now notice right here, she's with, mother and child, just like Semiramis and Tammuz, or Isis and Horus. This is Ashun right here, a carving of her. Now let me show you a statue I found watching a video. Now, first see these Ashun worshippers agree to being witches and not denying it.
Are you in fact witches?
Whatever the situation calls for. So if you come to me with pleasantries, you being respectful, you'll get Glinda, the good witch of the suburbs. But if you come at me with negativity and meanness and disrespect, then you'll get Eveline. Your worst nightmare. Oh,
They have many names and titles and ranks within their belief system. They are college-educated professional women who've chosen to believe that theirs is a truer example of worship that is inclusive.
So, that's the Shum with child, and that was on, the witch's altar. She claimed to be a witch. Now, I'm going to get into where the witchcraft comes from in the Ifa tradition. It actually comes from one of the 7 powers. It's very interesting. But first, let's get into the symbols that I noticed. And look at this symbol that he has right here. This is the same exact symbol found in the movie Midsummer from the Scandinavian sun worship. In their ritual burning room, as you see right here, they burn down this whole entire place in the movie. The symbol's right here on the wall. And it looks like it has the Ouroboros, or the snake eating its tail, going around it. No different. Or you can look at it as 4 X's. And this is the picture used in the Fifth Estate clip. And they also use it in Maclean's, the Canadian news magazine. As you see here, they say, in Africa, Dr. Prince left was regarded as the same sort of witch doctor as his friend Adentona. And as you see here on Adentona's clothes, what is he wearing on his chest? The swastika, which is in fact a sun symbol, as you can tell from the way the points are going. If it would be going the opposite way, it would represent the moon. It's all about astrology. It's all the same. Here's a couple of symbols that represent the sun. Most notably, I call it the Target symbol. I don't know, from the store Target. But that's a representation of the sun. This is the sun cross. These are like the sun wheels. This is the black sun. And this looks similar to the swastika, right? Now check this out. You can find black sun images with the swastika inside. The swastika does in fact represent the sun. Here you see Hitler with the sun symbol. The supposed Nazi swastika. Sun symbol in the middle. It's all the same, man. Check it out.
Here's where it appears to have come from. At the end of World War II, before it even ended, Alan Dulles and people from our intelligence community were already through Switzerland making contacts to get out Nazi scientists. As World War II ends, they not only get out rocket scientists, but they also get out some Nazi doctors who have been doing mind control research in the death camps. They brought them to the United States. Along with them was a young boy, a teenager, who had been raised in a Hasidic Jewish tradition and a background of Kabbalistic mysticism that probably appealed to people in the cult because at least by the turn of the century, Aleister Crowley had been introducing Kabbalism into satanic stuff, if not earlier. And I suspect it may have formed some bond between them. But he saved his skin by collaborating and being an assistant to them in the death camp experiments. They brought him with them. And they started doing mind control research for military intelligence in military hospitals in the United States. And the people that came, the Nazi doctors, were Satanists. Subsequently, the boy changed his name, Americanized it some, obtained an MD degree, became a physician, and continued this work and appears to be at the center of the cult programming.
Now, this is from the Scooby-Doo movie that is based on a voodoo cult. And as you can see here with the skeleton head with the hat on, that's a representation of Papa Legba, one of the gods in voodoo that is associated with Elegua from the 7 powers, or Ishu in the Ifa tradition. Now, the whole movie is about, youth going to a theme park and leaving under mind control. And they're literally using demonic possession to achieve the mind control.
It seems to be a brainwashing facility.
But that's the beauty of something broken. It can be fixed, and therein lies its potential. And I need you to fix Spooky Island.
Well, what's the problem exactly?
I believe somebody is casting a spell on the students. Now listen and look around. Can you notice any difference between those arriving and those departing?
They look like sober, well-behaved college kids.
Precisely. And they didn't before they came. They've changed. In other words, a magic spell. Carol! Hey, Carol! How's the island?
Are you tricking on me?
Carol, it's me. It's Brad. We've known each other since we were like 3.
Back off my grill, son!
Carol, what are you doing? I'm terrified. And the young people that come off that barge, the people I love the most, they're in danger.
I'm gonna solve this one first.
Not before I solve it first.
Thanks, Shaggy. Oh boy, am I glad to see you. Now let me go so I can return to my body, and then get out of here before they find you and steal your protoplasm too. I always knew you were a hero, Shaggy. Jinky!
Now, from a very serious book, Mysterious Secrets of the Dark Kingdom, Battle for Planet Earth by J.P. Timmons. And this is what he said about witches when him and his ministry, deliverance ministry, went down there to deliver the Yoruba people. And there are a lot of ex-witches and also witches that they spoke to get this information. Now, this is a chapter on witches. This is what he says on page 149. Witches may be either male or female, but there are many more females than males. There are also witches who possess both male and female sexual organs. These witches are extremely wicked. They use their sexual organs to foster miscarriages and demonic possession in the human race. Now, this is exactly what is going on right now, what we're hearing about from channels like Mr. E, who, re-uploaded a lot of, I say good evidence from other channels like, Transpocalypse and Transvestigation and different channels like that. Something's really going on that people need to wake up and understand. Now, this is Dr. Prince's The Yoruba Image of the Witch. Witchcraft, the extra-natural interference in the welfare of the community by women, has long since ceased to be a source of major concern in Western society. In many other areas of the world, however, the witch remains a very active and vital image in the consciousness of the people. This is certainly true for the Yoruba. The nature of the witch. This is another part of this book or article he put out. It is clear then that in Yoruba land, witchcraft is a feminine art and has its power from Ishu, the trickster god, and was sanctioned if somewhat reluctantly by Aranmulu, the god of fate, and Aloran, the god of all. This power is generally attributed to older women, but young women or even girls can sometimes be involved. Now keep in mind the malevolent trickster god Ishu. They call him the trickster. This is the same as Ilegua or Papalegua. I'll show you in a few.
Why would my housekeeper take it from my son? Is it Santeria?
No, this is not Santeria. It is black magic, brujeria. This symbol belongs to a god of destruction and pestilence. El Engañador, the trickster.
What the hell does it have to do with my son?
There was a ritual when a tribe was threatened by drought or flood or destruction by its enemies. 3 children were offered to the god.
Sacrificed?
Eldest sons sacrificed by their fathers. The last child of the summer solstice.
Why?
To gain power, to destroy their enemies.
I've seen the bodies of 2 children. This ritual's being performed now.
The Yoruba word for witch is Aje, and would appear to be a somewhat contraction of Iyaje, meaning mother eat. The word Aje is avoided as much as possible, or at least spoken in a whisper for fear of attracting the witch's attention or offending her. And just like J.P. Simmons said in Mysterious Secrets of the Dark Kingdom, he says one of the commonest fantasies, he claims a fantasy, about the powers of the witch is that she can transform her heart soul, Akan, into a bird or animal. This occurs at night, and her physical body remains in sleep while her transformed heart soul moves abroad.
For all you know, a witch might be living right next door to you right now. They're everywhere. A witch might be a nurse or your teacher. And you can bet your sweet patootie that friendly little old lady on the bus offering you a delicious piece of saltwater taffy is a witch. And here's the most important thing. Witches hate children. A witch...
And just like everywhere else, we also get the witches being associated with sexual abuse of children and sacrifice of children. It says here, witches are considered to take part in some obscure nocturnal orgies, ajo, for which one member of the witch party must supply a human child. Now also from Maclean's, we see here it says, the witch, she prolongs her life by drinking the blood of others, particularly children. And then we see over here it says, the most expensive and powerful Nordstroms, known as strongman medicines, are compounded from human parts. The placenta, head, hands, and intestines are regarded as the most potent. This probably accounts for the frequent reports of mutilated bodies found in lonely places, says Dr. Prince.
Yes, ma'am. You cut yourself on a rusty nail, you get lockjaw. Yes, ma'am. And then I'd have to flush out your system with liver oil, garlic juice, Tabasco sauce. You wouldn't want to go through that now, would you? No, ma'am. Good. Remember safety first.
Grandma knew how to fix all kinds of ailments. She learned from her grandma how to use herbs and potions and strange incantations to make sick people good as new. Here in Alabama, where she grew up, Grandma was known as a healer.
What am I thinking? I just told you we saw a witch today. A witch in the grocery store. What am I doing? Sitting here like I'm blind in one eye and can't see out the other. Wasting precious time. Lollygag.
Always wondered what Grandma kept in that locked closet. Turns out it was full of medicinal herbs and elixirs and old books about ancient healing. Now, my mom always said Grandma was sort of a country-type healer. But now I was starting to think she might be a voodoo priestess.
Now, you see from the clip, she's supposed to be a healer, a herbalist, or sometimes known as a witch doctor. And he called her a voodoo priestess. Now, they often make it seem different from the witches, just like in the movie. The witches are not the same as the healers. But look at what this man said, Dr. Prince. And this is from Maclean's news article. Against the black magic of witches, there are at least 3 lines of defense. The most important is the invention of the witch doctor, versed in protective incantations invocations and medicine. Smearing the body with black soap is regarded as a particularly effective technique. No one, not even a witch, eats soap. Therefore, no one, not even a witch, will eat me. Faced by a stubborn case, the witch doctor will sometimes secretly consult a witch. Her cooperation is usually forthcoming, provided sacrifices are brought into her. Oil, food, fowl, goats, and pigs. At times I had the impression that the witches were practicing a kind of extortion racket like the mafia, says Dr. Prince. Now look, they're mostly making these sacrifices to heal people or to do protection. There's a lot of protection rituals that offer sacrifice. Now check this clip out.
And I prepared at Mr. Milton's request an overview of the Moyes case.
Moyes case?
Now, there is no doubt who Moyes was making the sacrifice to here, and this is Papa Legba, also known as Ilegba, Legba, or Ishu, or Isu. This is the bottom of the same statue you will see in the clip. They flash it real quick, and this is no doubt Papa Legba. In the clip, Keanu Reeves walks past this image. That's the guy he's, somehow shapeshifted into a stone, standing in front of the Papa Legba statue, or Ilegba. And you see the stone face that he's always portrayed as, or sometimes portrayed as, I should say. As you see, the same exact candle, Ilegba, or Ilegba, or Legba. See here, the big stone mound in the back. You see another one here. Isu, Ilegba, Ishu, Ilegba, Papa Legba, all the same thing. The god of the witch. And you can see the same type of statue image. It's also phallic with an erection. You can find Papa Legba with horns. As you see him depicted here. Depicted like this, and there's another form. Depicted like this, holding the stone head. See the colors, red and black, or red and or black and white, or red, black, and white. See him depicted here also, horned, phallic. Now remember the original clip earlier in the video with the Haitian voodoo worshippers. This was at the beginning of their village. See the two serpents, the horns from his symbol, as seen here. These swirly parts down here, the two, this one and this one is often depicted as snakes, as I'll show you now, as seen here on the left.
Good afternoon. I'm looking for Philippe Moyes. Look, I'm not sure I'm making myself clear.
Moyes, you need him? Speak with him? Show him your boots.
You're saying he's down here in the basement? In the dark?
You think we take it?
Monsieur, I thought I would recognize you. But I do not. Mr. Moyes? Oui. We've never met. I'm Kevin Lomax. I'm a lawyer. I'm here about the ends.
We have an investment in blood. Do you commit a spiritual currency?
Spiritual currency?
What?
Mr. Moyes, I'm gonna need your help with this.
What is the name of the man who will prosecute us?
Murder. Assistant District Attorney Arnold Murder. What are you doing, Mr. Moyes?
With this tongue we create silence. You can go now.
Now, Dr. Prince has said that in this article that he believed that they were the witch doctors, healers, or herbalists were working with the witches, to make money. And that's exactly what was said in Mysterious Secrets of the Dark Kingdom by J.P. Timmons. And look to the extent they go to what Dr. Prince witnessed. This is right here. The witch doctors uses strict measures to collect his fees. Even if he is recovered, the patient is placed in foot shackles and kept that way until his relatives fork over. I saw one recovered patient in shackles for 4 years because of non-payment, says Dr. Prince. And they come in shackles, as you've seen in the first clip from the Fifth Estate. Now, from Mysterious Secrets of the Dark Kingdom by J.P. Timmons, page 153. In Africa, the witches in a village or an area will form a group and work with a witch doctor, sometimes called a herbalist, in that village. They do this for financial support to meet their physical needs. Here's how they operate. The black witches put sickness, barrenness, and some other physical problem upon a person, the person is then encouraged to visit the witch doctor for healing. The witch doctor obtains a sum of money from them for a cure. He will then give a prescription for the cure. This will, of course, consist of idolatrous sacrifices and the use of herbs. The affected person is then miraculously healed. In reality, what happens is that the witches remove the illness. The cure normally lasts for 90 days, after which a new malady is placed upon that person, or perhaps another member of their family, and the circle repeats itself. Now, as you can see from the Papa Legba symbol, it has a bunch of different symbols made together to make one symbol. But if you notice, like I showed you, there's twin snakes. This is also right here with this little crescent moon type of thing on it. It's like a staff that is held by Papa Legba. And let me show you a few other places I have found it at. Sometimes looking like a crescent moon. The Haitian voodoo video from New Atlantis. You can see here the worshippers at the top of a mountain. Remember, they had the Papa Legba painting at the village. Look at the staff. It's seen here in the first Murder of the Believers, the child sacrifice scene. This is the paraphernalia that was left behind. The red and black candles. Papa Legba holding the staff. There's another scene, another one with the staff. Red and black candles. Now back to the New Atlantis video of the Haitian voodoo worshippers. The Papa Legba painting at the beginning of the village. Here's the 4 X's. You can barely see them, but I circled them. There's 2 X's on the left, 2 X's on the right. 4 X's in total. Exactly like you see here, 4 X's or 4 crosses. Right?
Is Lopez Catholic? Yeah, sure. The family's Cuban. But they practice this thing called Santeria. Have you heard of that? No. It's a Latin thing. A lot of them are into it up there. They cut up chickens, magic, shit like that.
And Lopez is into this?
Yeah, he kept it quiet.
You said he found the body on an altar with a lot of religious paraphernalia, right?
There's at least 200 places to sell that shit in East Island.
Wait a second, please. If I'm evaluating a patient, I'd call that a pretty strong lead, wouldn't you?
Citizen's got a right to his own religious preference. That's the First Amendment.
Citizen performs a human sacrifice. I'd say he forfeits that right.
Come on. The psycho kills a kid. He makes it look like a religious ritual.
That kid was cut up with the precision of a surgeon, not a psychopath. What are you afraid of? That Lopez is a suspect? That it's one of your own? It's not this religion, is it?
I don't call cutting up chickens a religion.
Now keep in mind that witchcraft always deals with sexual child abuse, as Dr. Prince has reported in his African journal also. This is not limited to Africa. This is around the whole world, every form of witchcraft. Now listen what he says here. It says, Dr. Prince made no headway in promoting the Western idea that neurosis or psychosis are often linked with personal conflict and maladjustment. Once he gave a simplified explanation of Freudian psychology to a friend of his, a powerful witch doctor. This great European doctor said that if parents treat their children unkindly over the years, it can lead to mental illness, said Prince. Now, it's much more deeper than that if you watch my other video. Not so many people watched it, but it's much more deeper than that. Sigmund Freud came out with something called the seduction theory, and he published something about it, and it was rejected by mainstream doctors and everyone. Basically, everyone rejected it, and then he changed it up. and said, he basically changed his whole story. He began with saying that basically satanic ritual abuse was the cause for mental illness. Sexual abuse of children was the cause of mental illness. It's not always done in a ritualistic fashion, okay? And a lot of the time, if it's incestuous, the parent was also, in their life abused at one point. And the same way, if it were any other adult, it's very likely that the adult was abused as a child themselves. Now, this is The Assault on Truth, Freud's Suppression of the Seduction Theory by Jeffrey Mossoff Mason. This man did a great work writing this book. Very happy because it's very hard to get Freud's original seduction theory in words to see what he actually wrote, and this man has it in his book. It is true that we feel impelled to make a synthesis when we survey the number of striking conditions that we have come to know. The fact that in order to form a hysterical symptom, a defense effort against distressing ideas must be present. This idea must exhibit a logical or associative connection with an unconscious memory through a few or many intermediate links, which themselves too remain unconscious at the moment. That this unconscious memory must have a sexual content, that its content must be an experience which occurred during a certain infantile period of life. So basically, sexual abuse when you're a child or an infant. So this is the same thing. Like, multiple personality disorder. We know it's a defense mechanism for things like this. And it is known that memory suppression is, a light form of PTSD or multiple personality disorder, or as is known now as dissociative identity disorder. Now, to give you the, an idea of what can happen to someone with this type of abuse, we have to hear this, man. People are out here suffering. You got to hear this. People say they can't hear this type of things. It hurts their heart. We got to hear this. We got to know what's going on. We need it to stop. It says here, thus, in one of my cases, the circumstance that the child was required to stimulate the genitals of a grown-up woman with his foot was enough to fixate his neurotic attention for years on his legs and to their function, and finally to produce a hysterical paraplegia. He couldn't walk because of what happened to him as a child. In another case, a woman patient suffering from anxiety attacks which tended to come on at certain hours of the day could not be calmed unless a particular one of her many sisters stayed by her side at all the time. Why this was so would have remained a riddle if analysis had not shown that the man who had committed the assaults on her used to inquire at every visit whether this sister, who he was afraid might interrupt him, was at home. Isn't it amazing how the mind works? And just like, other, psychiatrists, Sigmund Freud believed in hypnosis and getting these repressed memories through hypnosis. And me personally, as a Christian, I do not think that should be done. I think it should be done through prayer and asking Jesus Christ to heal you and when you're ready to reveal these memories to you. Now, when Dr. Prince told his witch doctor friend about this, the witch doctor didn't agree. It says, the witch doctor whistled in amazement. You are wrong, he said. It is well known that insanity is caused by witches, but we don't have witches in North America, Europe, and we still have a lot of mental illness, said Prince. No witches in your country. No, we have burnt them all several hundred years ago. Oh, yes, replied the witch doctor with an understanding smile. You have burnt them. You may have burnt them, but their children are still among you. Interesting.
John, gets you in trouble every time. Now how do I get out of this body?
I won't tell you.
Yeah? Tell me you died, John. Your choice.
No, I'll tell you. You have to transfer your soul out of the jar into that of the first human being you revealed your true self to.
You mean the first person I let in on the fact that I was really alive? I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. The first person I let in on my little secret was a 6-year-old kid. I'm gonna be 6 years old again. Well, John, it's been fun, but I gotta go. I have a date with a 6-year-old boy. And you have a date with death.
get into the closing here, but again, for McLean's, a second line of defense is for the afflicted or frightened victim to become an initiate in a cult dedicated to the appeasement of a specific deity. One of the prominent cults is the Galadi, with a membership made up largely of men who are impotent or whose wives are barren. At the annual Galadi festivals, the men dress as women and flaunt bullet-like breasts and protruding buttocks carved of wood. Some stuff their clothing to mimic pregnancy. Others carry wooden carvings of children on their backs, the which cannot harm anyone within our society, one of the members told Dr. Prince. And this is well known, as, we're not making this up. Most likely a lot of people are going to say you're trying to demonize our culture and things like that. If you watch a lot of the Galadi videos on YouTube, you see people glorifying them and have no idea what they're about. But I found a video of a man who actually had some knowledge.
Gelede has become tradition of the Yaga. It could be celebrated to liberate somebody in the clutches of the witches. Most of those who come in the night to watch Gelede celebration are not human beings.
As you see there, he said most who come in the night to celebrate Galadi are not human beings. What are they, demonic entities? What do you think? You tell me. Now, these people from the Believers, he said, in the beginning of the movie, they show these people sacrificing their son. And they were in Africa. But he claimed to be in the Sudan. And it's very interesting because there's stories of people saying that Yoruba traveled through the Sudan and Ethiopia to get to where they're at today. And it makes you think, they really might have the same story. We might have the same story as the Limba tribe. If you don't know who they are, go research the Limba tribe and notice the butterfly. MK Ultra, Monarch Butterfly. See the boy from the Believer scene, the older couple, the man speaking in the scene is the one who sacrificed his son. And if you look at the pictures that they flash, you can see that he has like smallpox. He has a bunch of sores around his, on his face, on his arm. And Sapano is the god of smallpox in the Yoruba religion. And Dr. Prince even spoke about this god being very feared and the fear of smallpox in Yoruba land. And notice that this is, as he said, in Sudan.
We thought we'd never get over it, but you do.
What was that?
Kate's fieldwork, postgraduate, summer of '46. The Sudan, 11 months in the bush. Haven't I ever told you the story? Yeah. Worst drought in 50 years. Then cholera. We saw half the tribe decimated. Daniel was only 4 years old. Oh, I'd argued against bringing him. Kate insisted. She couldn't bear to leave him that long. Then when Daniel took sick, the elders of the tribe came to see us. We developed a trust with them by then. Bond. What they suggested seemed unthinkable. Against nature. But you see, Cal, Daniel was so clearly beyond any medical help. As outsiders, it was really a great honor. Daniel was very brave. And the drought did end, Cal. We were delivered. The life of another child was saved. Oh, a most remarkable child, Cal. Over the years, he's grown so special to us, almost like a son. He's taught us so much.
Of course you're uncertain, Cal. Naturally, so was I, till I met him. But now imagine, if you can, a life without uncertainty, freedom from doubt, the ability to choose, single-mindedness.
One life from each of us, Cal, is all he asks. And he rewards our devotion 1,000-fold.
Personal desires. Oh, yes, of course, anything. That's part of it.
It's only the beginning.
There was a time, Cal, when man was at one with the gods before the fall. Now we're at one again. And their benediction is power. It's a power you can't imagine. Power to create a world of our choosing. Power to destroy those who oppose us.
Chris was chosen, Cal. When he found the shell, remember? It was a sign. Cal, we want you to join us.
Now, people think this doesn't happen. This is right here in my state. This is from Newark, New Jersey. This man right here, Robert F. Williams, 53 years old, of Newark, New Jersey. Essex County Prosecutor Michael Morris argued that the fact that a skeleton torso was found in his home, evidently dressed with a tie and a suit jacket, raised the spectator of a person out of step with society and dangerous to society. Now, if you look him up, still simple, search online, you'll see him with the top hat on and the suit. That's from American Horror Story, I believe. Yep. See, and he's depicted other times, other places, the same way with the suit on. Now, if you read the article, you'll find out that he is a follower of the Palo Mayombe, and the whole reason why they went there was because a father called Newark police in Essex County to report that his son, now 13 years old, had been abused at the hands of Robert Frank Williams, 53, over a several-month period beginning in 2018. On August 15th, Newark police served a search warrant at Williams' first-floor apartment to see if there was anything to substantiate the claims of abuse. Now, he sexually abused the kid, and they found the altar in his house with a torso that I guess he stole from a grave.